Hey Cancer, happy birthday! It's your girl here with your Cancer season reading, actually. I decided to do these by seasons just because they usually come out when I do them, they usually come out like mid-month anyway. And so I'm like, you know what, let's just do the seasons because I think that is something that is I don't know, something I want to do. Enough of that explanation. So, um, when I was concentrating on doing this video, I'm not doing it in a particular order. I just happened to do two water signs back to back. Well, like a day apart. But when I was thinking about you guys and your energy, one of the things that came up was um, I feel like you guys are going to delve this month really, really deep into your subconscious emotions. And so you're kind of good on some level, not good at. A lot of times, people who do know you, when you've come out of your shell for them, it's like you're kind of displaying yourself fully to them when you've actually come out of your shell. That takes some time, but when it does happen, it's fantastic. And people are very well aware of how you feel and things like that. And you seem to have a pretty good grasp on how you feel as well. Or have you? And that's going to be, I think, the question of the not only cancer season, but the cancer season this year also going through, like, you'll mostly be in retrograde. Like you'll definitely be mostly in retrograde this year, for a cancer season. It's going a little bit into Leo season, but for the most part, you'll be in retrograde and Cancer season. So I feel like this is all the emotions that you have sort of suppressed for the sake of um, some could say normalcy, not seeming too sensitive, maybe even the secret crushes and things like that. And so I feel like it's going to be a lot of subconscious sort of emotions and truths sort of revealing themselves in this next month. So with that being said, let me go ahead and shuffle the cards, and we are going to talk about what comes out. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I said we're going to deal with the subconscious quite a bit. And every card that I pulled came out in reversed. And the thing about the cards coming in reversed is sometimes it can mean delays if it's like one or two cards, or it could mean, it could mean a myriad of like the opposite of what the card actually means. I feel like when all the cards come in reverse, this means that this is all going on internally rather than externally. So let's talk about it. We have the Hangman in reverse. We have Sustain in reverse. We have Arcadia in reverse. They're all really telling a story already. We have Excess in reverse. We have Prudence in reverse, and then we have the Ace of Songs in reverse. I feel like on some level I want to read these cards in reverse. So I'm going to do that because that's what I feel like. The Ace of Songs was the last card that we pulled. And I feel like the Ace of Songs is talking about how do we start this new beginning. It's like knowing a new beginning needs to start. It's the Ace of Songs. So the songs being the thing that you've mastered. This is actually from Tarot for a Time Being, by Stephen J. Kibley of The Church, which is a band. So anyway, I feel like the Ace of Songs, the beginning of a new song. But how do you put a song together? Well, first of all, you have to write lyrics or a melody. You have to have inspiration. So when we're talking about the Ace of Songs, this is about a new beginning. This is about a new song. This is about a new thing of which can be put out into the world, which is going to inspire others. So, um, now on a less kind of ambiguous note, this can talk about starting a new relationship, but this is going to be something that is going to be uh, kind of long lasting. It's going to actually have its chords and its notes, and it's going to have its full life. This could be talking about starting a new relationship. I don't feel like this has so much to do with work as much. This isn't really like an earth based. This is more of an inspiration based sort of thing, you know, unless your job is creative. So this could be taking on new projects. This could be taking on new creative projects. This could literally mean the beginning of a writing process. So, so this is the Ace of Songs. So we have prudence. And so there is a question of whether or not you have the discipline, the stability, the resources, the time even in order to invest in something completely new and creative and inspirational. There could also be a little bit of stage fright in regards to putting yourself out there. You know, this is a very Cancerian energy that sometimes happens, is that unless you feel safe, you're not going to put yourself out there. And so there is this sort of like making a lot of safe choices for the sake of not really understanding whether or not you should really put yourself out there, if it's worth it, if it's going to be beneficial. This relationship, if we're talking about a relationship, this is like, you know, there's a certain amount of reservedness. Maybe it's not outward, but it's definitely internal, and it's definitely sort of you're trying to make all the right moves. Maybe you're watching those like videos on how to get the man or how to get the girl, reading Cosmo, you know, and things like that. There's a lot of insecurity around how to approach this new song, if you will, or how to approach this new phase in your life. Um, we have the excess in reverse card. There's probably been times where people have told you that you are too much, you're too extra, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too that. So with that being said, because you have been told all these things for such a long time, there's an element of you that's also very hesitant and moving forward because you don't want to be any of those things. But those things are you, those things that are things that make you you. And so it's kind of like what we reject persists. And so if you start rejecting those things within yourself and not realizing that those were based off of other people's insecurities, those weren't necessarily based off of any real fact or realities, people not being able to deal with their own emotional selves. If we don't really tap into the truth of the matter, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to be in this sort of space where you're constantly tiptoeing. And you have to realize that if they were going to call you for the job, they were going to call you for the job anyway. If this person was going to be with you, they were going to be with you anyway. If you were going to, you know, if this opportunity was going to happen, it was going to happen anyway. And it was irregardless is not really a word. I really don't like using it. Maybe it is a word. Anyway, regardless, regardless to yourself. It was always about you and who you are and everything that you embody. So we have Arcadia. Um, and Arcadia represents to me, it's like, you know, there is an element here that if you really allowed it to happen, and if you really kind of allowed yourself to feel in this moment, to be in this moment, to actually to take charge and control, you could find yourself in a space that is a little bit more. I don't want to use the word idealistic. It's the song that it's the song. It's the word that's coming in my head. Um, I guess idealistic in a way that isn't just a fantasy, but more tailor fit to you. So you can find yourself in a space that's a little bit more tailor fit to who you are and what you have to offer. Um, so, but you have to open yourself up to actually get there, and not be afraid of your excess. You know, to not be afraid of your own emotional self, to not be afraid of, if we're talking about again of creative projects, to not be afraid that your expression might be too um much, to you know, a lot of times as artists have a some artists have a really good way of being able to get their art out there in a way that's palatable for people. But art itself is not palatable. Okay, art is the thing that that changes lives, changes politics, changes views on things, is a way of which people can actually connect because they can express those parts of themselves that they can't necessarily actually say out loud, and so and I know I'm speaking more in terms of art, but really, if you listen closely and really work on the parts that really do fit to you specifically, because art is sort of also a metaphor. It's about creation in general. It's about creation. It's about being a producer, not a consumer. You know, and so how do you produce? You produce with inspiration and with emotion and with expression. This is about expression. So if you can allow yourself to actually move out of your shell a little bit more, you'll find yourself in a place where it's easier to express those things. um, we have the sustained card in reverse, and I feel like there's a fear in sustainability. There's a fear that, well, what if what if what I have to express, or how I choose to express it, isn't sustainable? What if I move into a place where I am doing more? I don't know why art keeps coming up. I feel like art's a big thing right now. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna put it out there. What if I put my art out there and is not received? What if I put my message out there and it's not received? You know, and how can I make a sustainable life out of what it is that I have to express? And that's a big question. That's a big question. I can't necessarily tell you how to do that. I can tell you with the Hangman in reverse that you need to make a decision. Need to make a decision of what the life is that you're going to live. Is it going to be, Jesus is on this card here. And the question is, the decision that you're going to make is the life that I'm going to live going to be the authentic one? You were born to Cancer, and so you were born in this sort of emotional water. You were born in this state where you're going to feel everything. You were born in this place where you were born of the water. You were born of the water, and that's not by accident. That's who you are. So where are you going to live? Are you going to be the crab that's going to try to live on land although you need water? Are you going to live in a harsh, cold climate environment? Because even though you're made to be in the sun, like, what kind of life are you going to live? And these are questions that you're going to be asking yourself through this Cancer season and through this next Mercury retrograde. And a lot of things are going to come up for you, resistances and maybe even some attacks, to be honest, from those who see you moving into this and wanting to sort of quelch that, trying to pull you back into the pot to boil yourself alive. That is going to be something you're going to experience within this next month. But I'm just telling you to hold fast, because you're on your way. If you allow yourself to open up, you're on your way. And those who can't accept it, maybe it's time for those relationships, maybe it's time for those even familial relationships to change in a drastic way that is more befitting to who you are and the things you have to express. So, I hope this was helpful for people out there. If you're watching this, I believe it's because you're supposed to be here. If this doesn't resonate with you, then, check your sun, moon, and rising, and I will see you guys soon for Leo season. Okay, bye.